exact about what happened in the facts. We didn't, you know, he didn't, if he said something that didn't happen and I knew, then we'd have to go back to Carol. So it was like this little dance that we did, and it all came out. So it's all what he wrote.
Can you read Part E?
The police officers of Jersey Village randomly stopped vehicles on the roadway and ordered the driver of the vehicle to drive to a public parking area, all of this without probable cause. After the drivers go to the public parking area as directed by said officers, these persons are arrested and charged with public intoxication, and their automobiles are searched and towed. All of this is a common practice and repeatedly done. This was not written by me.
Okay. Did you provide that information to him as part of that factual investigation that you were talking about?
No.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking, the reason I'm asking is, do you remember when we talked about the your request about the DWI stops, the 3 years of DWI stops?
Yes.
Okay. That was not related to this claim?
No.
Okay. Do you understand why
Yes.
having this in my hand and having that in my hand, I made the connection?
But I never, with Mr. Hunzinger, I never talked to him about it. I didn't communicate with him about it. I was upset about that because I didn't have any idea. It was a one-day deal, and whatever, you know, Andy wrote to him, I did not communicate with Andy or with him. So what Andy said, I never really completely understood.
Let's back up a second.
Because I did have some questions for Andy later, and it did make sense, but I still don't understand it.
Let me back up a second. Andrew Hunzinger. Who is Andrew Hunzinger?
He's a gentleman that was a whistleblower out of the city of Jersey Village.
All right, and he was a police officer with the
Yes.
city of Jersey Village? And he blew the whistle about what?
I think basically he protected there's several women that he helped protect the women. He blew the whistle about administrative things. He had specific things that he had, you know, had an issue with.
But how does Andrew Hunzinger get connected to, if all of Jerry Payne's information about this case comes from you and Carol, how does Andrew Hunzinger come into this situation?
Carol had met him. I did not know him. And she'd known him, I guess, known of him or knew him for many years. And I'd heard about him, you know, his name. I'm Honerkamp. And I didn't know him, never knew him, never had any interest in him. And when Mr. Payne called up and said, we need some extra witnesses, he said, I need them.
So
I called Carol. And so the only agreement I had with Carol was, you know, and this is how I work it is, if I make the call, it's my call. Then I don't want her intervening with me. So I said, you give me his name, and I gave Mr. Payne a list of people. And he, you know, dealt with them. I did read Mr. Hunzinger's first, it was like a Saturday afternoon deal, and I read this little thing, and I told Payne, this ain't it. You know, this isn't good, because it didn't say anything. So Andy wrote another one, and I didn't talk to Andy at all. I didn't know Andy. I'd only met him once for 15 minutes. You know, and so Andy wrote another one, and then after that, that's what I was told to write. And after many months later, I asked him a question, not about, it had to do, because I have an interest in something that's different, and I don't understand. I didn't understand, and I still have a problem understanding how a law could be a vehicle law, the PI deal. They call it a lesser crime. I don't know. What do you call it?
Lesser included offense?
Yes, I am dyslexic, but that right there confuses me. So okay. Andy has tried maybe for an hour one day to try to explain it to me. He made sense to me, but I don't know what has to do with that lawsuit.
All right.
I'm just saying, I did not understand that. I still, when you said that, that's what it is that I have a problem with.
All right. Carol's living with you right now, right?
Yes.
All right. How long has she been living with you?
August the 4th.
And does she pay rent?
No.
Has she ever lived with you before?
Not that I recall. I mean, you know,
Did she ever like spend the night when she and Lonnie were fighting?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's not.
Now, you have described yourself in the past as, in some letters I've seen, as an advocate for Carol Davis. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And how would you define advocate?
I am an advocate. I used to be a child advocate. I used to say I was a child advocate, and then I got into adults.
Had you ever been appointed by a court as a guardian ad litem?
No.
Okay.
What I do.
So you're like a private child advocate?
No. That's where you're wrong. What I'm known for is I live in a rural community, and years ago, you know, it's very difficult to explain, but in a rural community, you have more. It's different in the courts. It's different than it is in Houston. Houston, I got dragged into Houston and learned a lot, but I'd already been doing it for 10 years. I was an advocate for people for, you know, different kinds of things, all different kinds of things.
Well, how would you define?
But I advocate for doctors call me, say I got a problem, I got a mom going down, you know, I don't know what I'm getting into. I walk in, they usually have lawyers, they're usually, you know, a couple, you know what I mean? Basically it'd be a custody fight, but it'd be over or maybe halfway over and you're in the middle. I have to walk in a situation with a mother hysterical, you know, in the corner, drilling at the mouth, you know, and you have to basically figure out, because I'm not trained and I don't have an education, but I have great instincts in emergencies. That's one thing about me that people really do get the drift of. In an emergency, I am the one you want to call because I don't panic. I slow down, and I can get that person to the courtroom.
Okay.
I have had people that had no teeth, no children, no lives, no shoes, no anything, and basically I'm known throughout my community as the one you call when it's so bad, when the agencies are confused, or like when the feds have called me, the state agencies have called me. But what I do now is I'm known in every court, every level of court, as an advocate, and they do let me walk in and represent people.
Well, let me ask you about in Carol's situation. As an advocate for Carol, I've seen some of the letters you've written, and we've gone over the fact that you know you've helped write some of the pleadings when she was pro se, and you've looked over some of the pleadings when she had counsel. And you wrote us the letter about when it looked like Sanders and Decker were trying to work out the case or something.
As an advocate.
Okay. So as an advocate, part of the things you would do as an advocate is advise someone whether, let's say, a settlement is a good idea or not.
No.
You would not?
No. Let me explain how Mr. Payne put it. I have two avenues. I'm an investigator. I'm an analyzer of documents. I'm good. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know law. I do not do case law. I don't go to the courthouse. I don't do styling. He said one day, he said, Lindy, if you drop the advocate, and this is the best explanation I've ever had, and I've been doing this 20 years. He said, drop the advocate, you'll be very successful. And you don't want to know the response in public, but you can imagine what I said. I said, but I'm an advocate first. That's how I get the communication in, because I have to communicate. So please don't confuse this. The paralegal work I did for him was under great duress. I lost 3 molars over it and almost died. He tortured me because he took advantage. He took advantage of me so that she could be at the Woodlands. You see, we're very far apart. I'm one place, he's another. So the advocate part, when I write as an advocate, I say, I, Lindy Honerkamp, am writing as a citizen. When I work under the umbrella of a lawyer, which I usually don't have to write the briefs. Now, I might hand you the paper, but I don't get involved. I'm not the one that rules. But I will rule if I'm not afraid of ruling on the facts, but the law is different. You understand?
Earlier today, you mentioned a $7,000 offer that the officers made to Miss Davis, which I believe actually was a $6,000 offer.
I'm sorry, I am dyslexic in math, and I don't have a feeling if it's
but
6,
Carol,
it's 5.
Carol did convey to you the fact that offer was made to her.
Yeah.
And what was your response?
When it got down to 6, I said, you know, she had 45 minutes to clear the house, you know. And I said, you know, I didn't know what to do.
45 minutes to clear the house?
They gave her 45 minutes, or she was going to the women's shelter. She had 45 minutes to leave. Or her mother said, sign the document, or you're going to the women's shelter at 5 o'clock.
So her mother advised her to take the settlement.
And Decker and Sander, but I think they were on the phone. They were there. And that was what they recommended, and that's what they wanted, and that was their point, was to, you know, they knew she was going to go to the women's shelter. They knew she was going to be rendered homeless.